blasting, billowing, bursting forth with the power of 10 billion butterfly sneezes.
This is Wine, Money, and Song. And if you want an insider's view of the wine industry, and if you're interested in learning about wines in different wine areas, please subscribe. So at the end of the year, all of the wine subscriptions, magazines, they come out with their list of top 100 wines of the year. Now, this has been going on about 20, 25 years, something like that. And I think the Wine Spectator started it. And it causes kind of a mania in the wine industry. Because what used to happen was they would come out with their list of the top 100 wines. And if you were in the top 10, you would sell out that wine. You know, the day after the magazine came out, retailers used to get phone calls. I want that wine. Give me 6 bottles of that wine, this wine, that wine. And it became a great selling tool for the wineries themselves if they got named to the top 10. Being in the top 100, it helped a little bit, but if you're in the top 10, you were going to sell out. And it didn't matter how much the wines were originally, but I think that's changed a little bit now. But you have the Wine Spectator, you have the Wine Enthusiast, you have James Suckling, and they come out with lists of the top 100 wines. Now, I have a view of this, and what does it mean? Now, the wine enthusiasts say that they try over 23,000 wines to come up with their top 100 list. James Suckling says he does over 40,000 wines a year, which is almost twice of what the Wine Enthusiasts. The Wine Spectator said that they had 5,000 wines, which were over 98 points, which I found hard to believe. So when you look over the lists, there's a lot of different wines in there. There's a lot of different wines, but understand what these lists are generally. That all three of these magazines are in the wine business. They're not telling you the best wine out of the goodness of their heart. You know, there's something in it for them putting this list out. Now, all these publications take advertising. And a lot of the wines mentioned here, they're advertisers in the magazines. So there's a vested interest in any of these wines, and you really got to look behind the curtain. You know, the Wizard of Oz is there moving things, and so they're in the wine business, and beyond advertising, a lot of times they go and they actually visit the estates. They have very, very good relationships with the estates. The owner of the estates takes them out to lunch, takes them out to dinner, gives them a great tasting of the older vintages, treats them well. So there's a lovey-dovey relationship between the publications and the people who produce the wines. And that's real life. You know, that's real life. I can tell you the way these wines are basically tasted, that they have a panel of tasters. And they go in a room, and some of them do blind tastings, some don't. But you get, the wine enthusiast, the James Suckling has 12 tasters. And the Wine Spectator has a bunch of them, and they put them in a room around the big table, and they bring out bottles and paper bags, and they pour the wines, and they go around. They ask people, what'd you like, this and that. And to me, having a bunch of people do it, you're going to come up with a consensus, but every taster is different, and they have different likes and dislikes. So with the Wine Advocate, used to have Bob Parker. And Bob Parker used to do 90% of all the wine reviews himself. And after a while, you got to know Robert Parker's palate. And when his words came on a piece of paper, you knew the style of wine he liked, and either you agreed with his style or not, but you knew what his palate was. And you don't get that out of the Wine Spectator. And Suckling has a panel of tasters too. And they all go through thousands of wines and narrowing it down to 100. And these are the top 10 wines from the Wine Spectator. I'm just going to go through them because they're the most important. Not that I dismiss the Wine Enthusiast or James Suckling. I think with the wine-consuming public, the Wine Spectator has the greatest influence on wine sales. So my view of the top 10 wines, the first wine of the year is Don Melchor, which is a wine from Conchitoro in Chile. And Conchitoro is one of the largest wineries in the world. And I think they make very good wines. They make a lot of different wines. And Don Melchor is very good. I remember the first time I had it, and God, it was a long time ago. And I had it blind. The salesman came in and said, try this. And at the time, Chilean wines were selling for $2.50, $3. And he came in, this one's, $10, $8, whatever it was. But it was delicious. It was a good wine. It was a very good wine. Now, this Don Melchor is $175. Now, I know wines have gone up, and the question is, these wines, I'm trying to think, the Wine Enthusiast had 14 wines under $30 in their top 100. So, that's pretty good selection. I'm not, bombing them out. But Suckling especially likes the more expensive wines. But just going through these Wine Spectator, the second wine is BV George Latour Cabernet, and they make a lot of wine. They make a lot of wine, and it's a big winery. The third wine is Tignanello. It's Antinori, another big company who makes a lot of different wines. So you can see the first three picks there are commercially big amounts of wine out there. And the wine's good, yeah. But spending Tignanello is like $250, something like that. Is it a good wine? Yeah, it's really good. But I'd rather have Sangiovese in my Tuscany wines. I don't want Cabernet in my Tuscany wines. I can get Cabernet from anywhere, but I can't get really great Sangiovese outside of Tuscany. And then there's Faust, there's Chimney Rock, which is California, big style Napa Valley Cabernets, and they're broad-shouldered and one of the other wines, number 7, Vieux Telegraph Chateauneuf de Pape. It's one of the old reliable Chateauneufs, but it's close to $100. There are a lot of $50 Chateauneufs I'd rather have, but it's an excellent wine. But at $100, how many people are going to be having that? The 8th wine is Williams Selling Pinot Noir, East Side Neighbors. Now, I've had a lot of the different vineyards that they have, and to me, that's one of their weaker vineyards. Some of the other vineyards I like more, but they make good California Pinot Noir. and so on down the line. There's a California Chardonnay Rainy. And what does this all mean? Are these the best wines? Yeah, in the opinion of 14, 15 tasters, how many there are. And should you run out and buy these wines just simply because these guys have said it? You got to find wines, style of wines that you like, and learn to think for yourself. And these wines are easy. These are commercial picks, and availability is very important. With some of these, with James Suckling especially, there's some very esoteric picks. A large amount of the wines that James Suckling picked, I've never heard of them and I've never had them, but in a way that's a good thing, that he's bringing new wines to light. But can you find these wines? And that's the key importance. But to me, everything's about value. And later on, I'm going to try to do an episode on the 10 best values of 2024. So use these wines lists of the 100 best. Use them judiciously. And just because they say it's the top 10 wines of the year, no one else have these wines as the top 10 wines. They're all different. All three lists have different top 10 wines. So it's are they good wines? I'm sure. Are they great values? No. Because whenever you do the tops, generally money is no issue. But for most wine drinkers, money is an issue. So that's the only thing I have with it. It's great that they present it and they open up new ideas and things like that. So be very, very careful about judging these are the 10 best wines and running out and buying these wines blindly, unless you've had experience with these wines before. So go through them and make your own lists up.